carried. And now we move on to the Waitai Coastal-Burwood Community Board. Thank you. Welcome.
Morena, Leanne,
Morena.
councillors, staff and community. This morning I have Jo Wells with me, our governance manager, giving me a hand as she does a great job there. So this report is actually just for the 3rd of December, but there are a couple of things that I will flag that aren't on this report that are a concern for us as a community board. So just it is a real concern about the Regenerate Christchurch timelines with regard to the regeneration strategy plan that we've heard about already. So it is a real concern for us, and the board is following up on this, and we do need to give our communities real assurance that they've been listened to and things are actually heading in the right direction. The second thing too is the freedom camping. The board have been having quite a few reports about freedom camping in the New Brighton area, which are of concern. They're taking up quite a lot of the car parks, they're leaving the rubbish, the toilets are a mess. We have so appreciated the new toilets that have been put there in Thompson Park. They've been well used, which is absolutely fantastic, but it does seem to be a continued issue in the summer months for the area. But we're really encouraged to know that, and we will be encouraging our residents to report these incidents so that we can log them and know the severity of the issues, and then we can all follow up on this. So those are the two things I just wanted to flag this morning that weren't actually in the report. So back to the report, there are no Part A's, and I will take it that the decisions under delegation, which are up there, you've all had a jolly good read of, so that is always exciting. Now, the last time I came to you before Christmas, we talked about the hot pools and we showed you a picture of where the actual hot pool, Christchurch hot pool site was. Well, that is what it looks like today. There is nothing there apart from sand, which is absolutely amazing. And on Monday, we had just a really lovely morning. It was the site blessing and the sod turning. And we had a couple of speeches, and unfortunately our official mayor was unable to attend, but we had our unofficial mayor of New Brighton, Alan Coburn. He did a speech for us, which was wonderful to have Alan there. He's quite very famous in the New Brighton area, and Leanne knows him well. And so he stepped into the shoes there, and he just gave a good representation of acknowledgements of those that have been in the pier and foreshore on the past and have worked on the hot pools for decades, and those that currently are working on it through that association in the community. And also there was acknowledgements for the council and for Development Christchurch for their process. But it was a really lovely morning, so we're all very excited about that. We'll bring you some photos next time about the sod turning. So Aston Drive soccer goals, this is just a little decision that the community board made, but it makes a big impact on a community. They took the initiative to acquire a soccer goal themselves, and they just needed permission to put it in. There was one soccer goal there, but they needed two, so it was actually able to provide a proper small pitch for recreational games, and that was the North Shore Residents Association, so good on them. The Bexley Park Reserve, there's been a few issues in there. We've got some great recreational facilities going on in there, velocity karts and the NAC BMX people, and there are panels. That toilet there is quite removed from the street in the middle of the park, and there's been some issues in the park itself. So we got staff together who've been amazing, and we got the board and the recreational people together to hear their concerns. But the solar panels on the toilets had been stolen, as well as some of the piping and things. So very disappointing. So they were replaced, and but unfortunately they were stolen again after our site meeting. So that is extremely disappointing. Especially for the staff that have gone to a lot of trouble, the board and those that are operating in the area. So we're back to the drawing board, but we do need to prevent this from happening again, so a different approach just might need to be needed there, so we're relying on staff there. Another thing that's really nice to report on is a new community event which is Duck Down to the River Festival. The Dallington, Avondale and Burwood communities, as you know, has really been hit hard in the earthquake through the red zone, etc. They've lost a lot of resources. But through the Community Resilience Partnership Fund that we have here at Council, we were able to provide some funding to these groups And so the Residents Association, some of the local groups have got together and providing some of these activities and festivals and events for the community. So this is ducked down to the river, but it doesn't just involve the side of the riverbank, it also involves activities in the river, which is going to be exciting. And I see they've actually got a duck race here, which I really don't know if that's real duckies or whether that's the little yellow duckies, so that's going to be really interesting to know where that goes, but staff have been helping the community there. Also, the next picture is Kite Day. You all know it's a pretty famous day in Brighton. Thousands turn up. Absolutely amazing. We have kite makers from all over New Zealand take part, and the community are also encouraged to create and decorate their own. So that's always a spectacular day down at the beach, and it was a great day too. And again, we're going back to these events that the Dallington Family Movie Night was absolutely amazing. It was, what was the movie? Dogs something. It was a movie about dogs, Show Dogs or something, which was absolutely fantastic. It was hosted by the Dallington Community Trust, and they had the pony rides. And this is a real boost to the community to have these since the earthquakes. And so well done to everybody that's involved. And these events really do help reconnect the communities that have lost so much. So good on to everybody that was involved in that. Next was, here's just a little fun thing. We had an idea come from a local resident who said, hey, that clock tower's been sort of locked away for a wee while and it would be really nice just to do a little bit something different with it, seeing it's such a high profile position. And so they wanted a ribbon around it, but that proved to be far too complicated. So in the end we got together with Grace Vineyard Church and they came up with this idea of wrapping around the security fencing with these very happy messages for Christmas, and Grace Vineyard Church ended up paying for the majority of the costs as well as installation, so good on everybody, and the residents of the area thoroughly enjoyed it, so that was a bit of fun. Common Ground, I've mentioned this to the council before, a really fantastic community initiative there just to activate a site that is vacant on the corner there of Bridge Street and Estuary Road. So that one there is by Common Ground. They have also received some funding from the discretionary response funding, which they're very pleased to get. But in addition to that, they go out into the community and they get contractors, who provide their labour for nothing and their materials and equipment. And so that fence is one example of that. But that's really activating that, and it's the transitional project until the Bridge Trust Community Hub gets up on its feet. So good on them. New Brighton south of the pier, this is another piece of artwork that I've mentioned to you before. The basketball court you'll see there in the little left-hand corner. It was a competition run by DCL and Scape, and the one on the pier ramp there has been done, and the one on the basketball court, it was delayed just until the Coast to Coast had finished, and now it has, and I didn't really see Glenn in the lineup. I did see a few other people bike past me. You weren't in the bike, you're in the run. Okay, that's probably why. But it was great to see the community lined up along Marine Parade, cheering everybody on, and just the event in Brighton is a real achievement for those that organise, and it's fantastic to have it there. And so the basketball court will be painted now that the Coast to Coast has finished. I Love New Brighton was another big day that we have thousands and thousands come into Thompson Park. And this is a collaboration between a lot of local community groups, and there's huge amounts of volunteers that turn up for this day and just make this such a fun time for the children. My grandkids absolutely loved it, and so thanks to staff who are also heavily involved in this event, but it is just a wonderful day. The other community board matters of interest, we had a public forum in December, and Betty Chapman, you know Betty Chapman, she came along. She's from the Wainoni Avonside Community Services Trust, and they talked to us about their concerns about the psychosocial and wellbeing issues that some of the trust clients are presenting, which is a real concern for Betty and her team, and also updated us about their building that the trust used that is in very, very poor condition and has limited use, so consequently the trust is looking at possibilities to move elsewhere. So now we have Betty Chapman's Community Trust and the Avondale Dallington Burwood communities urgently needing a community facility, and as you're aware, gathering community places are essential for the wellbeing and recovery, especially after such loss, and this is a real high priority for our board. And finally, we've got the Parklands of Play. So that's also another event that's going to be happening this Sunday, so if you're a bit of a loose end on Sunday, check it out down there at 12 o'clock. It's a lot of fun, and staff again also help and assist the community to pull this all together. So a great time, and plenty of things happening over there. So So thank you.
Thank you. We've got 33 seconds to go, but now I just wanted to, a very full report, thank you. I wanted to add another resolution to the receiving of the report, which was a second one, which is to invite staff to brief the Community Board on progress on the South Shore, South New Brighton regeneration strategy prior to reporting to Council, because I know that a report will come to Council, and if they come to the Community Board first, then that I think will be, we've got a resolution then on the books to cover that. Because I would hate it to come here and then, having reflected on what you've said, not have it go to the Community Board first.
Thank you, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you. So would someone like to move? David, seconded. Glenn, I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much.